everybody, it's Dr. V. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to go ahead and do the karmic energy read for right now. This reading, although I'm saying it's for this week, I want to just be very clear that these readings are, I don't date stamp them for a reason, because they will resonate for different people on different points of their journey. So even if you happen to come across this reading in a couple of months, if it resonates for you, the energy still is resonant depending on where you are. The rest of you, thank you, all of you who've liked, subscribed, commented. I appreciate your love and your support. Thank you to all of you who have sent in energy exchange donations. It really helps me, shows me how much you appreciate and value the content that you get here. And it's also an energy exchange. You know, it's sort of like, we talk about this in the readings a lot, that part of being in balance is being able to receive and give equally. And so it's important to be able to make sure that we're giving back when we're receiving something of value from others. So I really appreciate those of you that do that. If you'd like to book a private reading, the information on how to do that is in the description box below. If you choose to book a private reading, you please be mindful to read all of the descriptions, read exactly what you're going to get and when you're going to get it, because I'm getting busier and busier, which is a good thing, and it's also limiting my ability to be able to respond to emails. And so if you're sending me emails about when you can expect this and what this consists of, I may just redirect you back to looking at the scheduling page. So just wanted to make that clear. So Spirit, please use me as a clear channel for communication. May the messages that come through be in the highest good of all those concerned. I call upon my angels, guides, ancestors, counsel, divine love, divine wisdom to be with me and guide this time, protect this time, guide these messages. I draw a sacred circle around the space, setting my ego to the outside. May these messages serve humanity, ascension, higher consciousness. And so it is. All right, y'all. This is the Angel Tarot cards by Dorian Virtue and Radley Valentine. Let's see what's going on with this karmic situation. We've got the Five of Earth, the Hermit, and the King of Water. So we have, there's some fears around money. This may be lack. Maybe they had some unexpected bills, some unexpected expenses. Something has come up that has caused this connection to feel like there is some lack. Something is not working out. I do get the energy of unexpected expenses. So maybe a big tax bill, or a car payment, or a car repair that needed to happen that really was unexpected. And so they may be needing to ask people for help. They may be needing to get a loan or something along those lines to help cover the costs of what they're doing right now. Now, a reminder that karmic situation does not have to be just between a romantic partnership. It can be many other kinds of connections. And so let this resonate how it resonates for you. Then there's the Hermit. This is also, it feels like they may have retreated into their own corners. They may be in separate spaces, even if they're sharing the same household. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of connection right now, a lot of connective energy. It feels like there's people that are really kind of in this process of trying to learn something about themselves, maybe trying to figure out what it is about this connection that keeps them coming back or staying, even though it doesn't feel right or feels confusing. So it really does feel like there's some internal spiritual pilgrimages happening right now. And that it's really the sense of, even if they are physically sharing a space, they're not sharing the same space. I hope that makes sense, that there may be, one person spending a lot of time on, in the basement office, or in the, one room, another person in another room, and there's not really a whole lot of cross energies happening. And then there's the King of Water. This is someone who wants to open their heart. It's like someone wants to have that connection. They want to be in that space of being trustworthy, of being that emotionally connected, emotionally stable, open-hearted, person. That's the kind of energy that they want to bring, and it's also the kind of energy that they want to connect with. And so it feels like people perhaps in this Hermit energy are trying to figure out how to open up their heart, if this is a wise situation in which to open their heart. There's definitely a lot of questions around what to do in this emotional state. So what is the karmic partner bringing right now? We got the Two of Fire, the Lovers, and the Ten of Air. Very interesting. So the Two of Fire, it says you've come into your own. New partnerships or contracts continue to move forward. Then we have the Lovers, intimate relationships, carefully weigh your decisions, and good health. And then we have this Ten of Air, which is a Ten of Swords, which is betrayal. It's the end of a difficult situation. It says embracing the change and expecting things to get better, recovering from an addiction. What I'm getting, honestly, from this is that this karmic person is in this situation that they're like, okay, I want something different. I want something better. This connection is not this King of Water. This is not the energy that I want to be in, and it's not the energy that I want to have in my life. I want someone who is, who looks at me like a fat kid looks at cake. That's the kind of energy that they're really wanting. So this does feel like this is about relationships more so than any other kind of karmic situation. And they're realizing that that's not what they're getting. It's interesting because I'm wondering if for some of these karmic people, if they have maybe met somebody, crossed paths with somebody, it says new partnerships, and then we talk about intimate relationships and carefully weighing your decisions. I'm wondering if there may be some karmics in this situation. I'm not saying this is for everybody, but I'm wondering if there's some karmic people that have actually crossed paths with somebody who has, sparked a little fire in them and has brought them into recognizing that maybe this is what they really want instead of what they're currently getting. That could possibly be the situation. And that's why that Lovers is there, because it's like, well, I want this intimate relationship. I want this partnership. I want this this energy to be in my life. But as it stands right now with this current situation, that's not something I can have. Not something I'm getting. And so then there's this question of like, well, do I take the path that is new, the new partnership that's possibly showing its opening its door to me, or do I stay where I'm at and continue to try to make that work? And that may be why this is happening here, this mental conflict, feeling like, in the traditional tarot, this is the person lying on the ground with 10 knives in their back. It could be this person feeling like, well, if I do that, if I go in a different direction, then I will be the person that's causing this other person to feel hurt. Then again, this other person has hurt me in the past, and so maybe it's time to like even the scales. I'm not quite sure why this message is coming through. Like, I don't usually read karmic situations this way. I'm just going with it. So if this resonates and you've had that happen or you've been aware of those kinds of situations happening, please let me know. So what is the divine counterpart bringing in? The Magician, Ego. There is a lot of major arcana right now. If you look at that, we've got, 9 cards on the table, and 4 of them are major arcana. There's some big things happening right now. And I've been saying this for a while, but I wouldn't be surprised if you were to discover that there was something that went down with your with your counterpart situation, that something big is going on. So the divine counterpart is bringing in the Magician. It says you're ready, you have the resources or the ability to manifest them. Life is magical. So it feels like things really are moving ahead for this person. It's like maybe the universe is opening doors and showing them this is the direction that you want to be going in. Pointing the signs to a different direction, opening doors, making things happen to try and show them their path, where they ought to be going instead of where they are. And then they have Ego, okay? This is a big problem. This has been a problem for the divine counterparts for a while, being stuck in this ego. It's like they have the ability to literally manifest whatever the hell it is that they want in this life, if they would just get clear about it and be honest. But their ego is preventing them from being able to reach for help. They also feel like they're stuck in something that they can't get out of. they could be focused really on just material things that came up earlier, feeling this lack. They may be focused on only on how things look on the outside. So it may be like, well, I don't want to be, I don't want to leave my kids and be a deadbeat dad, so I'm going to stay in the household, but I'm not really going to be involved. I'm not going to really do a whole lot because I'm really not happy in this situation. So I'm going to live in the household, but I'm not going to really be here. But on the outside, everybody thinks it looks great. So it could be really something like that. It could be one of those situations where, I don't know if you've ever met people like this, where their house is nice, they drive a nice car, and then you start talking to them, and suddenly it's like once you get to know them, they're like, my life is miserable, my kids hate me, and you're like, wow, I had no idea. So right now, the divine counterpart in this situation is still missing the opportunities that the universe is presenting to them in many ways because they're still caught in this ego. And one of the things that I always say, it's I sometimes I talk in meme form, so just bear with me, is that you can't heal what you conceal. And so for people like caught in the ego that are too embarrassed to admit, this isn't a good situation, or I'm not happy here, or I want something different, or I need something different, I need help to get out of this situation. So a lot of people will conceal the fact that they feel like unhappy or that things are not going the way that they want them to go, and so they'll just stay in this space of being caught in the ego, being caught in these limiting beliefs instead of just asking. It's that you can't conquer what you won't confront. That's another one of my favorites. They're refusing to conquer or refusing to confront what's really going on because they want to keep the image that they have, and as such, they're not tapping into their abilities as much as they could with the magician. So they could, if they were intentional and being conscious about it, they could really be manifesting a lot. They could be about 10 steps further along in their path than they are if they would humble themselves. But they're just not able to humble themselves and to fall on their knees before the divine and be like, this is not what I want, this situation is not what I want, I need to get out, please show me the way. If they would do that, they'd be able to manifest that. Then we have the Seven of Air. These, along with the Three of Air, are the most painful cards in the whole tarot. This is the Seven of Swords, the Ten of Swords. These are very, very difficult cards that are showing up. So far, we only have one emotional card. And this says, plans that need revision, more going on than meets the eye, and poor timing. So this could be a couple of things. This could be they're trying to sneak away and not have to be the one to pull the plug. That really does feel like it's resonant to me, that they're in this space of, there are a lot of people who will passively decide instead of actively decide. There are people who will misuse or mistreat. Sorry, I was misuse. I'm like, that's not the right word. Mistreat the people in their lives that are, because they don't want to be in the situation anymore, but they won't actually take the steps to get out of it. So these are the people who will like passively sabotage their relationships. They're the ones who will constantly be like, oh, I forgot to, their spouse will ask them to get something from the store and they'll forget every time. Or they will do things that will force the person away, that will force the person to make a decision that they're not willing to make. And that's what this feels like. What this feels like is that this is a person who's like, I know that this needs to change. I know that this is a revision that needs to happen. This is something that absolutely cannot continue the way that it is, but I don't have the, as we say in the Latino world, cojones to move it. I don't have the balls to make the steps that I need to make. I don't have the ability to take the steps that I need to take. And so I'm just going to sit here and kind of wait for things to happen. I'm going to wait for, I know that this needs to happen, but I'm not going to be the one to do it because, maybe I'm just a little bit too chicken shit at this point to do it. So this is the Ten of Swords that I was talking about. Painful. And then we have the Seven of Swords, which is the sneaking off card. So that's really what I'm getting from this, is that your divine counterpart isn't being real divine in this situation right now, to put it frank. They're not being very divine, because a divine person would tell the truth and would be honest. Somebody that was living out their divinity and was truly walking in this divine, higher awareness consciousness path would have the integrity to be honest and to say, you know what, this isn't what I want, and it's not about you, and it has nothing, you know, not wanting to hurt anybody, and would approach it in a conscious way, and would have the courage to face it and to take their lumps if that's what needs to happen, without feeling like they need to sneak off. So if you're praying for your divine counterpart, pray that they start being divine, that they start walking this out and living this path out, because they're not in this situation. They're being sneaky, they're being cowardly, they're being really, I get a little bit of manipulation here. They're letting their ego lead. And so if you're praying, I would suggest praying that that spirit has its way, and that whatever needs to come crashing down to allow the healing to happen, to allow it to happen. Really pray for them to become the divine being that they're meant to be. Because this just doesn't feel like good energy. It feels like there's a lot of pain for both people. So what is ahead for this connection? We have Four of Earth, Four of Fire, and the Queen of Water. So it says being too frivolous or too cautious with money. This is a hoarding energy. This is somebody who is really, I get holding back. This is, again, to me, this energy of holding back. What's ahead is that people are going to continue in the physical world to withhold from each other and to not offer to each other the connections or the love that they each desire, or the truth that they each desire. They're going to continue to be in this space of being cautious and being careful and withholding. This says, Four of Fire, contentment, peace, and abundance, happy home life, successful completion of a project. So it's interesting because we have a lot of conflicting energies here. So what I feel like is ahead for this connection is that there's going to be this burst of wanting this Four of Fire, this contentment, peace, and abundance. It's like they really want that, and it's a possibility. It's just not a possibility in this situation, not as it stands. Right now, what's coming through very clearly is that both people in this karmic situation are not being honest with the other. They're not being fully transparent about their feelings, about what they want, about what's going on for them, and it's contributing to this energy of this loop, this karmic circle that keeps going. So I'm going to pull a clarifier for that Four of Fire. So it says renewal, review and evaluate, a favorable assessment of the facts, time to move in a new direction. So what I'm getting from these two cards together is that there will be this desire to have contentment, peace, and abundance, the happy home life. And then we have with the renewal, it says renew and evaluate, a favorable assessment, and time to move in a new direction. What I get from this is that there is a possibility that people will be sitting down and having these conversations with their karmic partners, or the karmic partners will be having the conversations with them, saying like, look, this is what I want. What I want is I want to have a happy home life. I want to come home and feel happy to be home. I want to come home and feel like I'm wanted and I'm like loved and appreciated, and that I'm seen, and that I have somebody who really truly treasures me, not somebody who's just taking me for granted. It's funny because there's this guy on Twitter and Instagram, his name is Derek Jackson, and he said something the other day that just like, I was like, wow. He said in one of his videos, a lot of women think that they're taken, but they're just taken for granted. And I was like, well, that's the truth there. And so I do feel like there's going to be, there's conversations that are going to start happening where people are going to finally sit down and say like, look, I have had this burst of passion. I want this love. I want this passion. And it's like, if you can't give it to me, that's fine. If you don't feel that way about me, if I don't, make your toes curl and you get goosebumps over your entire body when you see me, that's fine. Like, yeah, it's hurtful because we've invested time in each other and there's been a lot going on, but I want that and I deserve that. There's something I feel like that's going to happen that's going to kind of bring that to people's awareness, that they really want that renewal. They want to have a new beginning, a new start. Literally saying, look, you can't force somebody to love you. You can't force somebody to feel passionate for you. And if you don't feel passionate for me, if maybe you felt passionate 10 years ago and you don't feel passionate now, maybe you never did, and maybe this connection was birthed out of mutual need and dependence, and now we've grown and we don't need that anymore, and it's time to move on. I do feel like that's going to happen. And I feel like part of it is that someone is going to really tap into this Queen of Water energy, which is about really wanting to move into, again, we have the King of Water and the Queen of Water, which is the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups, which is this mature emotional energy. This to me feels like people stepping out of these limited, like immature energies. Immaturity is what keeps people stuck in connections that don't serve. It's what keeps people from staying in relationships that they don't want to be in, because they want to avoid conflict. Because they don't want to disappoint people. I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's not judgmental at all, because it's difficult to speak your truth. Like, don't get me wrong. It's difficult to tell somebody, I don't want to be with you, or I don't feel this way about you. It's not easy. If it was easy, people would do it much more often. But this is this sense of people kind of stepping up to the plate and saying, I'm just not going to continue living a situation that doesn't feel 110% authentic to who I am anymore. I'm not getting any younger, and I want something different. I want something better. So what's the most likely outcome? Got the Eight of Earth, the Moon, and the Two of Earth. So skilled work is rewarded. Learning all there is to know about a topic, going back to school. I feel like this card to me is about a new beginning. This is about somebody really going, I know it's an 8 and it's not a 1, but it feels like a new beginning. It's like something paying off in the real world, the material world. So this could be, skilled work is rewarded. This could be a payoff to having these hard conversations. It could be somebody that's like, all right, I see everything that there is to know about this topic, about what I'm supposed to learn about this relationship. There's nothing more that I can do with it. I just want to move in a new direction and do something different. So it says, the Moon card is next. The most likely outcome: important psychic insights, events behind the scenes, and fear, releasing fears that will hold you back. I really do get that there's going to be some intuitive insights that will be coming. There will be things that will be revealed. Secrets will be coming out. I feel like it could be a possibility that people are outed. Secrets that have been kept will be outed against their will, but it could also be people finally getting honest and telling the truth about situations instead of holding it back. And then we have Two of Earth. This is the Two of Pentacles in the traditional tarot. It's a card about being like precarious balance, right? Where you're kind of walking on a tightrope and not really feeling like you can go very far. And so that's what that feels like, is just too much going on. It's someone needs to make a decision. Someone needs to move forward. There's going to be some balance needed to move the situation forward. Overall, I feel like we're in a place right now with all these Earth cards that are showing up, is that things are starting to happen in the material world. For a while, when we were doing the karmic readings, a lot of it was about spiritually, right? I think if you remember, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you can remember having those cards that were like coming back from, what's the word I'm looking for? That things were happening, and I would keep saying, spiritually, it's in the spiritual realm. It takes some time for things to come from the spiritual realm to the earth realm. I don't know if you remember me saying that, but now I feel like it's transferred from the spirit realm down to the earth realm, and now we're going to start seeing things actually happening that we've only been thinking about for a while, that we've been sensing spiritually. Now we're going to start to see it happen. Now we're going to start to see the ball rolling, things into motion. It's going to start happening in the physical, so be prepared for it. Be prepared for things to start happening in the physical realm that you have been hoping for or thinking might happen, and we're afraid that it wasn't going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and move this aside. And I want to look at what's the shadow side of this connection right now. So this is the Oracle of Shadows and Light by Lucy Cavendish. I want to look at the shadow side. What is the shadow side? What's lurking beneath the surface of this connection? That sounds very creepy, right? Lurking beneath the shadows of this connection. And then suddenly coming out of nowhere. So what's the shadow energy, Spirit? What's the shadow energy for this connection? Grumpy red fairy. Not surprised to see that. Ghosts of the past. And I totally knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. I could feel it before it came out. Yo, sometimes my own psychic skills freak me out, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I'm like, how did I know that was going to happen? That's so weird. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know why. This is a card of authenticity. What the shadow side is that they're not being authentic. They're both like, it's literally like, there's this, in psychology, there's this idea of a shared delusion. It's called a folie à deux. It's literally a shared delusion. It's two people who are believing the same delusion. So they're caught up in the same fantasy. That's what this is. Neither one of them are, it's like, but it's not a delusion. It's like they know that it's not real. They know that they're not being fully authentic. They know that like, maybe one of them gets in the car and goes driving to work and calls their mom and is like, man, I'm just like this person and complaining and not happy. And then, okay, so put it like this. I was watching this movie this last weekend. I took my kiddos to a movie, and I'm not going to spoil it for you because I don't want to ruin it, but I'll tell you, one of the characters is like, you know, like, I'll do anything to get out of my house. I hate my kids, but I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Everything's great. I'm blessed. It's like that kind of energy, like it really being fake. And being inauthentic for a really long time is freaking exhausting. It wears on you. It really is exhausting and overwhelming. And it feels like that's the space that they're in right now. They're just freaking overwhelmed because it's hard to pretend to be something you're not for a long time. And it's like you get grumpy, right? You get grumpy if you have to pretend to be an illusion, if you're having to create this image that's not who you really are. It's exhausting, and that is where they are. Then we have the ghosts of the past. It says the past returns for a time. They are haunted by some things from their past that they need to freaking heal. Let go of the past. It's in the past. Gotta move on. That's what I'm saying. Like, delete those old numbers, you know? Why keep in contact? Why keep the energy of people from your past or energies from your past? This could be energies of parents that have, you know, childhood issues, childhood traumas. These ghosts from the past are haunting. This could literally be that somebody from their past pops up. That could be the energy that came up earlier with the karmic situation, the karmic partner, where the karmic partner was like feeling that, you know, the Two of Wands and then the lover's energy. It could be that somebody came up from the past that really kind of woke up some of those feelings again. You know, that could be part of the energy. It could be a past life connection that's coming back. But I'm really getting that a lot of it is just things from the past that are continuing to haunt each individual, which is part of why they keep doing this grumpy red fairy and authentic bullshit. And then it says, ghosts from the pumpkin patch, counting your blessings. Part of the block in this situation is that they can't see that you can count your blessings and you can be really appreciative for somebody for being a part of your life for a season and not feel like you need to continue that season into the future. That is something it takes a lot of wisdom to get to. Understanding that sometimes people are in your life. There's a poem, I think, like people come into your life for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And sometimes people take people that are supposed to be in their life for a season and want to force them into a lifetime position. And it feels like that's what's happening. And it's time to just count your blessings, release this shit, move on so that you can go into a better space. So, moving this, I'm going to wrap up with, what is it that their souls are learning right now? What are the soul lessons that are happening? And this is the Soul Lessons and Soul Purpose Oracle cards by Sonia Choquette. Soul lessons. What are their souls learning? Or what are they supposed to be learning right now? Live life to the fullest and be patient. Live life to the fullest. Living in a crappy relationship that you're not happy in is definitely not living life to the fullest. So this says, your soul's purpose right now is to break out of your habitual self-identity and routine and directly experience all that beckons you in life. Your soul's lesson is to have the courage to challenge yourself to the fullest and to pursue your passions without reservation. Earthly existence ends soon enough, so don't throw it away by keeping yourself from experiencing it to the hilt. Dream big and live large. This is your playground and you write the rules. Don't sit on the sidelines watching the days go by. That's a beautiful message. And then the Be Patient card says, your soul's purpose right now is to view all obstacles as indications that you must refine your intentions and efforts and start anew. Rather than lash out at others, ask yourself where you're forcing your desires before they're fully developed. Where are you leaping before you look? And your soul's lesson, step back and assess where you might have missed some important steps in your journey. Where have you fallen short in your responsibilities? As a divine being, you can create whatever you desire, but only if you do everything that your creations require of you. There are no shortcuts or free passes in the process of building success, nor are there any conspirators standing in your way. The only obstacle is you and your own mistakes. So control your passions, start over, and apply your patience instead. It's so funny because so many of those messages came through in the reading already, so it's just confirmation. So I hope that this reading was helpful for you understanding what in the world is going on with your karmic situation or your counterpart's karmic situation. Please let me know if you have any questions. I love you all so much. Thanks for being here. Bye.